Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I gotta admit, this wasn't my favorite page, but as I keep telling myself and you, there's no bad pages, so just keep going. So watch me as I stumble through this creative process, picking a llama over a bunch of flowers. I think it was a mistake. If you remember from the last video, I created this background using 3 colors of acrylic paint. And I wanted to run with that. I was feeling like I wanted something bright. As I was going through this process, honestly, I was losing faith in my ability to do anything. But I kept going, and I encourage everyone to keep going, even when you're having bad art days. I honestly wanted all I wanted to do all day on today was to work on this art journal, and everything I did was a flop. And I know everyone feels that way, but I kept going and I kept encouraging myself quietly. My daughter was encouraging me, and I kept going. Is it the page I wanted? Not really, but it was still fun, and I'm glad the process was there. And I'll show you a bunch of techniques throughout this. But for right now, it was crazy getting started. It was crazy going all the way through it. But keep going. That's my message here. It's okay. Keep going, and you'll see that in the journal page as I keep going. So this page, that the thing I just stuck down, was from my gel press. And I just wanted to add some color to the side of the page. I'm going to bring in the stencil, as you saw there, but first I found a piece of old book. This is a book on aquarium, making aquariums nice in your home, an old vintage aquarium book. But I wanted to have some text on the page just to break up the color. So I just ripped a page out of the book and then ripped it randomly and stuck it down using my trusted glue stick. Next, I wanted to grab the stencils and add some stenciling to the page because I really like the idea of adding stencil because it's another layer that's really can go over your artwork that you've already done without too much thought. And using black is something that a lot of art journalists do, and I really like it because it really makes everything pop. So I'm just using acrylic paint here, a stencil brush, no water. I'm going in dry right on top of the stencil. Again, stencils you can get from the dollar store, from Amazon, from Temu, from your local art supply store. There's so many varieties of stencils. I just wanted something very abstract to go with this art journal page that I was working on. And when I was doing this, I wasn't really sure where I was going with this because, like I said, I was just having one of those days. I was like, what am I even doing? But I just kept going, and I thought, just go with the process, use colors and techniques that you like to use, and see what comes out of it. It was just one of those random weird art days. If you have one of those, I encourage you, just keep going. If you hate your page when you're done with it, even though you shouldn't, you can cover it up completely on another day. Or you can go back to it later and add different things. And at the end of the video, you'll see that I added a bunch of different things to make the page more acceptable to me. I did have fun going through and adding different elements and doing different things. I just wish I was more cohesive, I guess, in my own thoughts of where I was going with this page. I had these great thoughts, but I had a really weird week last week. I got rear-ended, and it was horrible, and I don't know. It was just crappy, and all I wanted to do was get into my art room, and I think I put too much pressure on me to do that. So here I am adding more of the stencil in the upper corner. And remember, if you don't have a stencil, you could easily use stamps or just add paper to your page for that final embellishment. Next, I wanted to use a different stencil just to go in with a different color, different shape. Again, if you don't have a stencil, you could easily use stamps or pieces of paper, or you don't have to do any of this. It's just a suggestion. And I was just really trying to add more to my page because, again, I was not having a great day making this, and I'm trying my best to figure out what's going to work, what's going to make me go, there's the moment where I know where I'm going with this. I still haven't had it yet. And that's okay. Again, I still really like getting my hands inky, making this for you, making this for me. It's all a process. This is one of my stencils that I got from Temu that I was really happy with. That I'll show you a different video on my different stencils that I'm getting from Temu. But this one is, I use kind of a pinky red because I thought it went with the pages of this book. Again, I feel really awkward the whole time I'm doing this video. I'm wearing a really heavy sweater because it was a bit chilly on this April morning when I was doing this. But anyway, I like the how these images looked once I stenciled them. So with this next part, I decided that I wanted to cut something out to add another layer. And I found this picture. It was a balcony scene from an old calendar. And I thought that's going to look really great. I love the colors. I love the red in the awning. So I decided to cut this out, and I apologize for going off screen when I'm cutting it. It's good if you have a smaller pair of scissors to do fiddly cutting, which I'm using here. And I really like these scissors. I forget where I got them, but I got them years ago. They're super sharp, very small. They can do detailed cuts. Not that this is a detailed cut, but I just like using these scissors. So anyway, I'm cutting out this. I would encourage you to keep old magazines, even papers that you might have, old pictures, anything that you might want to be able to cut something out of to add to your art journaling. And it can be words, it can be pictures, it can be parts of pictures. I have some ideas coming up for parts of pictures in later videos that will be a lot of fun. So trimming this all up, I'm thinking this is going to look really sharp on my page. As you can tell from the intro picture though, I decided not to use it, probably against my best judgment. I used a llama instead. But here we are. I really like the shadowing of that awning a lot. There's just something about it that I didn't like on the page. It might have been the peach background of the building next to my bright pink. I'm not really sure. I don't know why I didn't go with it. I'm going to save it for something else and use something else here on this page. Okay, I got rid of the patio awning, but this bird fell down. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was from what I cut out, and I loved it there. So I used that, glued it down in that corner of blue. A beautiful white seagull, giving me a little bit of hope and inspiration for my page here that I'm working on. Happy little accidents. That's what Bob Ross says, right? So this is another page that I start gluing down, and I am using this from my jelly press pads. Maybe my next video I'll do my jelly press video again. I've learned a lot from the last time I've done it. I love jelly pressing and creating different textures, and it really lends itself well to art journaling because you can use pieces that you've created from the jelly press into your art journal. And wow, you can get some amazing things going on your jelly press. I like this because it seemed to blend in with the other circles I had, and the colors really suit the whole image. Am I liking this a little bit more? Yes. Now that I have my bird down there and my other circles, it's starting to blend together the page. Next, I wanted to add a stamped element, and I decided to use a group of daisies, I guess, or simple flowers, and I wanted to use that just on white paper stamped in black. Unfortunately, I grabbed a dark brown stamp pad instead of black, and I didn't realize that till afterwards. It's not as dark as I wanted. But that was kind of the theme of my day in my art room, is just kind of making mistakes. But anyway, I still went with it. If you wanted to add a stamped element to your page, I recommend using something bold. I like using black ink a lot, especially archival black ink, because if you wanted to go in and color these flowers, it would be a lot nicer if you had a permanent stamp pad that you use so the ink wouldn't run when you're using your stamp pad. I'm just cutting this out very quickly, and I'm leaving white space because I don't want to cut it out too detailed. I want a little bit of white showing. And I like the idea of the flowers because they are going to be a white element on the page that kind of pop. But again, as you can tell from the original picture, I decided not to use it in the end. When you are doing your art journaling, give yourself some freedom to stamp some designs, cut images out of paper or magazines or whatever other paper material that you might have, and organize it on the page. Don't glue anything down immediately. You might find something better. There might be something that inspires you differently. There might be a quote that comes up that you want to do or something like that, and then you can change it around without too much messing around with the page that you've already started and hopefully that you already love. So cutting these out, I'm just thinking, I wish that it was black ink, but you can't really tell from this picture. But it is a dark brown ink that I used on these flowers. I thought the roundness of the flowers and the roundness of the circles was also going to be a good match. In the end, I decided I didn't really like it. It was too bold for me right now. So I wasn't satisfied with the flowers, so I decided to use the llama and see how that would look with my art. It's a little bit funky, a little bit weird. When you're experimenting in your art journal, feel free to go outside your normal comfort zone by picking images and objects that you might not normally use in, say, a card making activity or journal making in general. Really have some fun with picking images that take you outside of that comfort zone, make you feel a little bit weird, which is good, a bit different. The llama stamp makes me smile. I thought this is going to be fun to add to the page. It's whimsical. And I'm just using a baby wipe to clean the stamp. And as you can tell, I have not cleaned it once with permanent black ink, but there it is. For the most part, it's clean. And I thought, let's try and do another color on top of the first brownish color. And I had this new bright blue stamp pad that I got, and I wanted to see what that would look like. So I didn't really care if it was lined up perfectly. I wanted that 3D type of look. And I think it looks really kind of funky. And I like it. I thought, okay, now what's the other color for that 3D effect? And it's the bright pink. So I did have a bright pink stamp pad, and you'll see that I'm going to use that in a second. And then I'll have the bright pink that matches the pinks on my page. Again, it's really fun to pick images that you might not normally use. And I encourage you also when you're art journaling to remember that this book is for you to experiment with. If you're trying different art techniques, have fun with it. Don't get discouraged. Honestly, I was getting a little discouraged with this page, but I just kept going with it. And in the end, I'm happy with the results. It's not something I would probably normally do, but I did have fun experimenting with different marking techniques on the page, different stamps, techniques like I'm doing here, just overlapping different stamp pads for different effects. And again, I'm cutting this out pretty roughly, but close to the image. I don't want too much white space. And to add it to my page, I'm not completely happy with it, but I ran with it. And it's just a little bit weird and different for the page. And this art journal page is really all about just keep going and let the art flow out and see what happens. So I hope you do the same. And if you don't have any art images, again, you could use pictures from magazines or draw. You could easily draw something, or use a saying, use a positive saying or a saying that might be flowing through your head. Music lyrics are also really good. If there's a song stuck in your head, use those lyrics on your page and just cover your page with those lyrics. Those are always fun activities as well. So adding this llama to the page adds a bit of dimension, just something different. Now I have a bird and a llama. I'm really not sure where this page is going, but it's fun. I like the bright colors. And using my scissors, I'm just going to trim it again a little bit closer because I don't like the white space too much. But again, be really free with the designs you pick. I hope you listen to music that inspires you when you're doing your art journal. And remember, this is all about your time, your experimentation process, your expressions in your journal. Learn some new techniques. Have a lot of fun when you're creating a page. Again, even if it's horrible, get a black marker and you can scribble over the whole thing, add some different pieces of paper, something else, and create something new and vibrant from something that you didn't like very much from before. Don't be too critical on yourself. Anything that you're creating is good. It's good for the soul and good for your art journal. So since this is an art journal, let's write in our art journal. I decided to use these Tomboy dual brush marker pens because they had the right color for my page. So I'm gluing down the llama. I've committed. I've gone away from my 3 flowers. Um, and then I'm going to write some things in my journal, some inspiring words to make sure that I'm just don't be so hard on myself when I'm not liking a journal page. So using these markers, I really like these markers because they're dual tips. So one side is more of a smaller marker point, and the other is a brush tip. I'm just grabbing out colors that reflect the actual page of my book, the blues and the pinks and the greens. And I'm just wanted to say that it's okay. It's okay. And I start writing this. And if you don't like your own printing, I just encourage you to keep on going with it. There's lots of tutorials online to practice your printing, but you don't even need that. You can just take a piece of paper and just practice yourself. Everyone's hand styling is just a little bit different. It's unique. Love your own. It's fun. It's creative to use your own handwriting in your journals. It makes it more personal. It makes it yours. So you'll see in a second the green on green doesn't work at all. So that green was out. So I'm going to use the blue to say okay. Um, and I just want to remind everyone that it's okay. It's okay to have a journal page that you are not so happy with. It's okay to have a journaling day that doesn't go well at all. You don't get much done. Accept what's happening and realize that not every day is going to be a perfect art day. The most important thing is you're trying. So keep going to your art studio or your art space. Get out your art journal. Whatever you do, if you just write some words in it, you could just keep writing your name in it if you wanted. I always like to outline my letters in black just so it pops out on the page a little bit. You can do this or not. You don't have to use a black pen even. You could use a different color to make it pop out. And the nice part about adding your own words to your journal is it's your own thoughts. Again, no one has to see this journal. And it's fun just adding words to how you're actually feeling in that moment on that day. They might be really positive things, they might be negative things, and it's okay to write down negative things to get something out of your head. Don't worry about stuff like that. This is for you to make you feel better and for you to enjoy the art journey process. So yeah, it's okay. I have a weird llama on my page. Let's go with it. So it's true, I have a lot of alphabet stamp sets, and I thought I wanted to use some stamping on this to complement or to contrast my actual handwriting. So I got out this set of large alphabet stamps. They're a little bit awkward because they're double-sided, so I'm looking for the right letters. But I wanted to say it's okay, and I wanted to stamp in keep going. Now, my black ink pad that I use, again, it's just one of those weird kooky days that you try and do things and you think it's going to turn out, doesn't turn out the best. I picked my old stamp pad by accident, so it's not as dark as I was hoping. And then I stamped my first E, right on the seam, and that was not a great idea. So, but I'll fix it. Again, these are art journals. They're not meant to be perfect. They're meant to be an expression of the moment, of the day, of your current life that's happening around you. So if you ever get a stamped image that you don't like so much, don't throw away the whole page. You can add in the details like I am here with a little black pen, and I'm going to be outlining it even more with white pen in a second. But make it your own. Make it, if the stamp is not doing what you want to do, outline it, change the colors, make it your own. So I recommend, if you don't have an alphabet stamp set, that you get one if you plan on doing a lot of art journaling, only because it's really fun to create your own sayings and stamps. And so I decided to use a second little stamp set of alphabet stamps to write the word or stamp the word going. And I like mixing and matching alphabet stamp sets along with my own handwriting. I just like the look of it. You might like it or might not like it. If you don't have any alphabet stamp sets, you can also cut out letters from old magazines or newspapers and create an alphabet or letter effect that way as well. And that's fun to do, to have a whole bunch of different styles of lettering glued onto your page to create words that you want to go along with your art journal. This is this really simple technique, just stamping directly onto white paper, cutting it out, and gluing it directly onto the page. I wanted to not stamp directly onto the page. One reason is because I knew it wouldn't show up very well in those darker circles, but I wanted to have it pop more than have it just directly on the page. I'm using the pink Tombow pen again to match my its and the pink on the page, just to blend everything in. And honestly, as I'm doing this, I am telling myself, it's okay, keep going. This is going to turn out okay. And again, I love being in my art room space, so it's all good. It was just, I was not expecting a brightly colored llama page to be the page I was working on today, but sometimes that's just how it goes, and you have to accept the wellness of the art that you are creating. My trusty glue stick. I hope everyone has a glue stick. They're the best, most inexpensive tool that I think I use daily in my art journaling. I found this nice little piece of ephemera or paper tag or whatever you want to call it. I liked it because it had the flower had the same pink that's in the pages of my journal. So I decided to glue that on the left hand side to add a little bit more dimension on that side of the book. Now it's starting to pull together. I'm liking it more and more. The keep is still not popping enough, so I decided to outline it in white pen. Sometimes these jelly pens work really well. Sometimes they don't work that great. But I find sometimes if you kind of scribble along with it, the ink will come out. And adding the white really, I think, pops the black ink behind. If you don't have a white pen, I would recommend getting one, a really good white ballpoint pen or paint marker pen, and a black one are good tools to have in your art kit for art journaling. They are very handy. They're my go-to tools, along with obviously my glue stick, some scissors, and random papers. But really, if you're looking for tools to add to your collection, a good black pen and a good white pen are good additions. So I'm wanting to still make the black pop, and because the white won't show up too much on the white background, I decided to put a black border around the E, and then add some white where the black touches the blue to pop it out. So it really experiment with your black and white pens. Have fun with it. Again, you can see that just makes it pop and look a little bit more artistic. So I messed up and I forgot to record, or I thought I was recording. when I was doing some of this thing. So this is my end page. I cut out the words remember and seriously from a magazine, stuck it on there. I doodled some flower images. I stuck some paper on, some wallpaper, a little flower to make the dimension of the page better. Overall, yeah, I'm happy with it. It makes me smile. It's not where I was going. I hope you enjoy doing your art journaling. I hope I gave you some techniques to try today. Layering, stamping, doodling. Have fun.